Everyone, my name is Nilanjan Das. I hope you're all doing good. Today I'm going to explain about the Prime Minister of India and the Council of Ministers. So let's start. The Prime Minister of India, we're going to see about the appointment of the PM, the power and position of the Prime Minister. Under power and position, we're going to see about the relationship between the Prime Minister and the President, the relationship between the Prime Minister and the Cabinet, the Prime Minister inside the Parliament, the Prime Minister as the leader of the nation, and the position of the PM, followed by the Council of Ministers, its composition, designation of the PM, appointment of the ministers, oath of office, size of the Council of Ministers, categories of the ministers, and the term of their office. So, beginning with appointment of the Prime Minister. So, the Prime Minister is appointed by the President, and on his saying, the President appoints the other ministers of the Council. The Prime Minister is the leader of the party or the coalition which commands the majority in the Lok Sabha elections. During the appointment of the Prime Minister, the President has a very little power in making his own personal choice. Second, the power and position of the PM, beginning with the President and the Prime Minister. The Prime Minister is a link between the Cabinet and the President. The decisions of the Cabinet are conveyed to the President through the ministers. It is who keeps the President informed on all matters of the government. Another relationship between the Prime Minister and the President is that it is on the saying of the Prime Minister the President could summon or dissolve the sittings of the Lok Sabha. Now, the President and the Cabinet. The formation of Cabinet, firstly, the Prime Minister is the recognized leader of the Cabinet. No prohibition is made in the Constitution for appointment of the different categories of the ministers. The President appoints the ministers and allocates work among them on the advice of the Prime Minister. Second, the removal of the ministers. The Prime Minister resignation means the resignation of the entire Council of Ministers. No person shall retain as the member of the Council of Ministers if the Prime Minister says that he should be dismissed. The President and the Cabinet. The formation of Cabinet, firstly, the Prime Minister is the recognized leader of the Cabinet. No prohibition is made in the Constitution for appointment of the different categories of the ministers. The President appoints the ministers and allocates work among them on the advice of the Prime Minister. Second, the removal of the ministers. The Prime Minister resignation means the resignation of the entire Council of Ministers. No person shall retain as the member of the Council of Ministers if the Prime Minister says that he should be dismissed. The Prime Minister is the ex-officio chairman of the Council of Ministers. At Cabinet meetings, the Prime Minister put forth their views. During the Cabinet meeting, the ministers put their views and the Prime Minister listens to them and then gives his own conclusion. The Prime Minister is the ex-officio chairman of the Council of Ministers. At Cabinet meetings, the ministers put forth their views and ideas. The Prime Minister would listen to them and then give his own conclusion, which normally is the decision of the whole Cabinet. The Prime Minister directs and coordinates policy. The Prime Minister coordinates the working of the various departments. In foreign, defense, economic, technological affairs, he plays a special role in coordinating the policy of the Union. Now we're going to see about the Prime Minister and the Parliament. The Prime Minister inside the Parliament, actually. It is on the advice of the Prime Minister that the President prorogues the Parliament and dissolves the Lok Sabha. The Prime Minister is the principal spokesperson and the defender of the government in the Parliament. Next, the Prime Minister as the leader of the nation. The Prime Minister is the recognized leader of the nation. The nation looks to the Prime Minister for views on every subject. It expects leadership from him. At the time of general election, usually it is the Prime Minister for whom or against the people vote. And lastly, the position of the Prime Minister. The Prime Minister exercises vast authority both in legislative and the financial factors of the country. Now we're going to see about the Council of Ministers. Under the Council of Ministers, the composition of the ministers. Under the composition, the designation of the new Prime Minister. The first step towards forming the new government is the designation of the Prime Minister. The Constitution provides the Prime Minister shall be appointed by the President. The Prime Minister must be a person who can sure be support of the Lok Sabha. Second, the appointment of the Prime Ministers. The other ministers are appointed by the President on the saying of the Prime Ministers. Ministers have to be the members of the either house of the Parliament. Non-members can also be chosen as the ministers. but such person must get themselves elected or nominated to either house within a period of 6 months after their appointment. Next, the oath of office and the secrecy. Every minister before entering upon his office takes oath of office and secrecy. Under oath of office, he affirms that number 1, he shall bear truth, faith, and elegancy to the Constitution of India. Second, he will uphold the sovereignty and integrity of India. Third, he will faithfully discharge his duties as a minister without fear or any favor, affection, or ill will. The size of the Council of Ministers. The Constitution's 91st Amendment Act limits the size of the Council of Ministers, including the Prime Minister, to 15% of the total number of the members of the Lok Sabha. But no prohibition is made for the appointment of the Deputy Prime Minister or different category of the ministers, such as Minister of the Cabinet rank, Minister of the State, Deputy Ministers. It leaves the Prime Minister free in this matter. Now, there is not much mention about the Deputy of the Prime Minister. I'll give you some examples. As long as the Sardar Patel was alive, there was a post-Deputy Prime Minister. The post terminated with his demise. It was received in 1967 when Morarji Desai was designated as the Deputy Prime Minister. In 1977, Chaudhary Charan Singh and Sri Jagjivan Ram both joined the Morarji Desai's cabinet as the Deputy Prime Minister. On June 29, 2002, the Union Home Ministry, Sri L.K. Advani, was designated as the Deputy Prime Ministers. Next, the categories of the ministers. There are few categories of the Council of Ministers. Number 1, the Cabinet Ministers, who is the member of the Cabinet. Number 2, the Minister of the State and the Deputy Ministers. Last point under the Council of Ministers, the term of office. The Constitution says the ministers shall hold office during the pleasure of the President. In fact, the Council of Ministers is collectively responsible for the House of the people. Therefore, the President cannot dismiss the Prime Minister so long as he enjoys the support in the Lok Sabha. The President's power to dismiss the Prime Minister is in fact the power of the Prime Minister to get rid of the unwanted colleagues. The distinction between the Council of Ministers and the Cabinet. So what is Cabinet? A Cabinet here means the Council consisting of Prime Minister and other Ministers of the Cabinet rank. The first distinction between the Council of Ministers and the Cabinet is the Council of Ministers consists of all categories of the ministers, the Cabinet of Ministers, Minister of the State and the Deputy Ministers. Whereas the Cabinet on the other hand is a small group consisting of some 25 senior members. Second point, the Council of Ministers as a whole rarely meet. Whereas the Cabinet on the other hand is a small cohesive group of senior ministers who meet frequently as possible. Cabinet ministers attend meeting of the Cabinet in their own right, whereas the Minister of the State can attend only if invited to some particular meetings. A Deputy Minister is a junior minister. No junior minister can attend the Cabinet meetings in the place of his chief, except if in an extraordinary situation. Last point, since the Council of Ministers as a whole rarely meet, it is the Cabinet ministers who consulted by the Prime Ministers for information and advice which he needs. Thus, we get to see that the Cabinet is the inner body within the Council of Ministers. I hope you understand about the Prime Minister and the Council of Ministers and how things actually work. So, I hope you like this lesson. So, press the bell icon, like, share, subscribe. Thank you.